student loans. Hey, I'm Tim, licensed loan officer, and today we're going to talk about student loans. Now, this has been a hot topic, all around the internet. It's trending. Everybody's talking about this whole student loan thing, and my issue with it is that nobody's addressing the real concern. Everyone's talking about, student loan forgiveness and wiping away debt, but they're not addressing the real concern. And that's what I want to talk about today. What is the real problem? And before I get into the real problem, I'm going to go ahead and just break it down and just say this. I'm all for forgiveness. I'm all for, wiping away debt and helping people and giving people reliefs. I'm all about that. I'm all for that. But if we go ahead and wipe away the debt and forgive everybody's student loan, we're going to be right back here, years later, because we're not addressing the real problem. You're just putting a Band-Aid on it. Like, to give you an example, like if you're bad at money, you're bad at spending money, and I go ahead and give you money and pay off all your debt, and it's just a matter of time until you do the same bad habits and you're back in the same predicament. So that's what I want to talk about, because we know the trending topic. We know Biden had a plan to wipe away $20,000 of everybody's student loan debt, and the Supreme Court voted 6-3 and didn't want to do it. And I understand that, but I want to talk about the problem. What is the problem? Why do we have people owing thousands and, lots of money of student loan debt? What is the problem? And that's what I'm going to break down to you. Number one, it's the government fault. The government is creating this problem. And the government is basically telling everybody you have a blank check. And what I mean by a blank check, I literally can go to college right now and study art. I can go study, history, psychology, all these different degrees that don't pay you any money. And they just give you a blank check to study whatever you want. And at the end of the day, they give you a certificate or degree and say, have a nice day. And now you're stuck with all this debt with a degree that's useless in some cases. The other problem to this whole thing is the universities. The universities problem is that they know the government is going to subsidize everybody no matter what, so they're just going to keep raising tuition. Think about that. So it's basically the government saying, hey, here's a blank check, go study whatever you want. Who cares if that's a good degree or a good certificate? Who cares if that's going to make you any money? And they got the universities saying, okay, well, since we know the government's going to pay for it, and since we know the government's subsidizing it and give people as much money as they want, we'll just keep raising tuition. We'll just, keep charging your books and charging more here and that. So the real problem is the government and then the universities. So to address this problem, the government needs to put a cap at this. They need to put a cap. They need to tell the universities, you need to make education more affordable. Education should not be going up every year. Think about it. Everything else gets cheaper after a while, like TVs, flat screens, cars, they come down. Of course, when something new, but education has went up skyrocketing. And the reason education keeps going up is because they know the government is going to subsidize it. And then people are not smart enough to say, hey, I shouldn't spend, $100,000 or $60,000 on this degree. People just are not that smart, And the way to do it is you go to community college or go somewhere small, pay out of pocket, and then go to university for 2 years. That's the way you do it. You don't go to a university, for 4 years, especially if you don't got any scholarships, any grants or anything like that, because you're basically walking away with a mortgage. And I run into people all the time that have this huge debt. They have no way of paying it. They got a useless degree, and they have the whole, now they're bagging the government. So until the government takes accountability that they're just giving away money for anything, and now the solution is wiping away the debt. Okay, wipe away the debt. But then there's a next class is going to do the same thing, and the next class is going to do the same thing. So that's the problem. Yeah, we can forgive people, but are we going to address the issue? Are we going to hold these universities accountable? Are we going to tell them to make education affordable? So that's the issue, and that's what no one wants to talk about. That it's like nobody wants to talk about the elephant in the room about why we have this, massive $1 trillion or whatever it is in student loan debt. Because I think consumers are at fault too, because every time you take out those debts, it's just a couple clicks of a button. Anyone ever got a student loan, it was just a couple clicks of a button. And I do mortgages. There's a bunch of documents, a truth in lending, a HUD. There are all these statements that you have to sign, to get a mortgage. And we check your, payment and debt to income, all these checks and balances. But there's no checks and balances when it comes to education. You usually get a blank check, go study, graduate with a mortgage. So that's my opinion. What do you think about this? What's your opinion on this? Student loan forgiveness, this whole debate. Do you agree with me, disagree with me? But that's how I feel about it. And until we address it and do the root cause and not just put a Band-Aid on this and forgive people, and then we're right back here again. And one more thing too, this is what the government does in general. It will give a bunch of people money, and then tell them, hey, we want you to get off the welfare system. But if you wanted them off the welfare system, why did you put them all on welfare in the first place? Why did you give them all these freebies and then tell them they don't need it? And now people are worried about, hey, if I work too many hours, I'm gonna lose my Section 8. And that's real. That's the truth. So a lot of these problems that the government tries to help people, because it is intent to help people get education and make education affordable, but in reality, it doesn't help people. People are graduating with massive amounts of debt and unable to find jobs. So let me know what you think. If you like this channel, it's all about buying a home, investment properties, leveling up, having excellent credit. If that's what you're into, consider this sub. I'll see you on the next one. Thanks.